Haha, hey everyone, it's that time again. I'm coming to you from Google's campus in beautiful Sunnyvale, California. And I'll be your host as we bring you the fantastic new features landing in Angular version 19. Every release, the team does our best to bring you the features that will enable you to deliver scalable, robust web apps with confidence. And guess what? This release is no different because we have team members sharing the latest on things like developer experience, performance, productivity, and so much more. It's really too bad that I already know what's coming because I don't get to be surprised, but I do know that there are a lot of great features that are going to make a lot of Angular developers really happy today. All right, no more waiting. How about we bring out our product lead, Miko Getchev, as he tells us all about the future of Angular. Miko, take it away.
Thank you, Mark. It is great to be here with you and also with all our viewers worldwide. Angular serves millions of developers around the world in quickly moving startups and in scalable enterprises. It also powers the UIs of some of Google's mission-critical products, such as Gemini and Google Cloud. This is a large responsibility and our team takes it seriously. We're relentless in our mission to enable web developers to change the world. Since Angular version 14, we have been on a roll. We started with standalone components, directives, and pipes, simplifying Angular's application authoring experience. Then we improved developer experience and performance, transitioning Angular to fine-grained reactivity with signals. We're proud to be teaming up with other framework authors, working towards introducing signals to the JavaScript language. Signals enable us to make Zone.js optional and further enhance your app's performance, data flow, and debugging experience. We've also made important strides with Angular on the server. We're working with engineers from the Wiz team at Google to introduce to Angular the performance lessons that they learned from Google Search. We started by enhancing Angular's server-side rendering experience with event replay, the same abstraction that has been handling billions of events in Google Search. Stay tuned in the event today to learn how we're taking Angular's server-side rendering experience to the next level. We're better when we work together. That is why we have been collaborating with Firebase, Netlify, IDX, Puppeteer, Playwright, Veed, and many other ecosystem teams to bring you joy when building web apps. We are really excited about the road ahead of us, and we cannot wait to walk it together with you.
Oh, thanks so much, Miko. Fantastic. You know, Angular's future is so bright, and we've been so fortunate to have a wonderful developer community supporting the framework and building scalable web apps. Now, we're focused on making Angular the best that it can be for our developer community, and our next guest is guiding the way as our technical lead. Jeremy's here, and he's going to share all about how Angular is answering the call of developers everywhere. Jeremy, take it away.
Hi, I'm Jeremy, tech lead for Angular, and I'm here in the studio today to tell you about the developer experience improvements we're shipping in Angular version 19. Back in Angular 14, the team introduced standalone components, giving developers a more straightforward dependency management API than ng modules. While we've recommended standalone for new code for some time, the default value for the standalone option was still false. This meant that you had to write out standalone true throughout your code. Starting with version 19, all components, directives, and pipes are now standalone by default. This means that you'll never have to write standalone true ever again. What about your existing code? Well, when you update to version 19, the ng update command automatically refactors your code so that everything keeps working seamlessly. All of your components, directives, and pipes that are declared in an ng module will be updated to include standalone false, preserving their existing behavior. Oh, and if you already had a bunch of standalone components in your project, the ng update command will clean those up for you too. These changes for standalone components are just the warm-up though. We've got some exciting development with signals. Signals have been a big hit in the Angular community. We've seen adoption steadily grow as more and more developers enjoy the streamlined developer experience of Angular signals. The signal and computed APIs have been stable and recommended for a while now. In version 19, we're promoting more signal-based APIs to stable. Input, model, output, and the signal-based query APIs are now stable and ready for your production application needs. And if you hadn't had a chance to take advantage of these APIs yet, now is a great time to update your applications and take advantage of reactivity with signals. That's not all. With version 19, we're also releasing a couple of new and experimental signal APIs. These APIs are inspired by some hands-on work the Angular team has done to roll out signals to production code inside Google. First up is linked signal. You can use linked signal to create some local state, just like signal. The difference is that this state is linked to a computed expression, which provides an initial value. You can write new values to linked signal just like a regular signal. But when the linked computed expression changes, the link signal returns to that computed value. You can learn more about link signal, including examples and use cases, on angular.dev. Next up is the new experimental resource API. The resource function lets you work with asynchronous values such as data from your server as part of Angular's signal graph. When you create a resource, you specify a computed expression that returns a request object. This expression produces a new value whenever its signal dependencies change. This request object then goes to the specified async loader function, which can use any data client or similar asynchronous API. Resources provide you both the result of the request and the resource status as signals, meaning they work seamlessly with the rest of Angular's reactivity system. You can learn more about resource, including code examples and use cases, on angular.dev. So, we've talked a lot about changes relating to how you write code, but what about your existing code? If you've been writing Angular for a while, you probably have a lot of code from before these signal APIs existed. Well, we've got you covered as well. New in version 19, we have our first set of automatic refactoring tools to transform your existing code to take advantage of reactivity with signals. There are 3 separate tools you can choose to run on your code. Running the signal input migration converts inputs using the decorator API to the new signal-based inputs. Similarly, the signal queries migration swaps queries like viewChild and ContentChild with their signal-based equivalent. And last, while not strictly related to signals, running output migration updates components to the new function-based output API. If you'd like to take a more fine-grained approach to refactoring your code, we've also started incorporating these tools directly into the Angular language service. This lets you run refactoring actions on your code directly in your IDE. In our testing so far, we've found that these tools are surprisingly effective at updating existing code bases. And this is only the start. These tools will continue to improve over time. You can learn more about these refactoring tools, including some limitations, on angular.dev. That concludes our developer experience highlights for now. We're really excited about these updates and think that you're going to use them to continue delivering web apps with confidence. And keep watching, because we're only just getting started.
I just love all of these exciting updates coming to Angular. It's truly making it an outstanding choice for building the next great application for the web. Now, we've been shipping updates to Angular material over the past few releases, and the updates just keep coming. So we have so much to tell you about. Why don't I just bring out Wagner from the Angular team to tell you more about it? Wagner, you're up.
Hi, I'm Wagner from the Angular team, and it brings me so much joy to share the latest improvements to Angular material and Angular CDK in the v19 update. So what are we waiting for? Let's jump in. First, let's talk a bit about what we've been up to with Angular material. We've been landing the big updates that developers have been requesting. One of the most highly requested features was support for Material 3, which landed in version 18. We've heard great feedback from developers about how you're excited to integrate the updates into your applications. We've also heard that you desire to more easily customize the styles of Angular material components to match your specific use cases. Well, we heard you loud and clear. So today we're bringing a simplified way to customize your applications. Introducing mat.theme. We've significantly simplified our theming system, resulting in not only less code for creating custom themes, but more maintainable code that's easier to understand. The new mat.theme API is where you'll start building your customizations. What used to take hundreds of lines of code can now be accomplished with just one call to mat.theme. The way this works is this new API uses a handful of application-wide CSS variables to control the styles of all the Angular material components. Before this new API, using our theming system to style your components was very complex and required many lines of Sass. Now, you can use our theming system to style your components by simply referencing these new CSS variables. For developers who want to make changes to the Angular material components, we've provided an all-new API to make this easy. The mat theme override mixin enables you to change styles at the application level. And for the developers out there who need even more fine-grained control, there are also per-component overrides available. There are mixins available for all Angular material components. For example, you can override the label text color using the mat button override mixin. Check out material.angular.io for more information. Let's cover an example. Currently, we provide 12 color palettes for theming Angular material apps. However, you may want to create your own theme. No problem. Check out our new schematic. By running the theme color schematic in the terminal from your project, you can generate your own color palette. We've also made it easier to learn how to theme an Angular material in two key ways. First, we're adding a new tab to each component on the material docs that will give you clear instructions on how to override the styles for that component. We're also excited to launch our new beginner-friendly theming guide, providing a well-lit path covering how to theme your applications. If you want to take advantage of these new APIs, you'll need to be on the latest version of Angular and using Material 3. You can find this guide and more at material.angular.io. Okay, theming is great, but what if I told you that there are additional updates to make your apps even more awesome? First, we have the new 2D drag and drop, which enables you to move list items not only vertically, but also horizontally. Now, there's support for reordering tabs as well. Our friends at Google Cloud are already using this feature. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, Angular Material now features a time picker. We know you've been asking for this component for ages, and now you'll be able to use it in your applications starting today. There are more updates available, so definitely check out the release details at blog.angular.dev. Here on the Angular team, we're going to continue to build great CDK components like the time picker and expand and deepen our customization options for Angular Material. We have some wonderful new features on our roadmap that we can't wait to share with you. We're excited to see what you build, so be sure to ng update and get the latest from Angular and Angular Material. Catch you later.
Angular Material continues to play an important part of the Angular developer story. We really hope that you enjoy all of these updates and be sure to let us know what you think. Speaking of what you think, you all shared a lot of feedback about hydration in Angular. You shared so much excitement when we launched our hydration updates. And last time we hung out, Jessica interrupted our broadcast to tell everyone about a special project that she was working on. Well, she's back, actually invited this time, mind you, to tell us about the latest chapter of the hydration story, incremental hydration. Jessica, over to you.
Placeholder, Jessica. You're still here? Didn't we do this joke already? You don't look so good. Oh, you say you're dehydrated? Well, here, have some water then. You're welcome. Oh, thanks, other Jessica. I'm hydrated now. Okay, I've been waiting here for a while to tell you about some exciting updates around hydration. Follow me. Here we are. I promise this is a different liminal space than before. You can tell by the plant. Oh, we got rid of that. Anyway, so back in v16, we added support for full application hydration. This ensures your server-side rendered HTML is reused when your application bootstraps on the client side. And then in v17, we added deferrable views, also known as defer blocks. Deferrable views are Angular's native primitive for declaratively defer loading chunks of your application. And then in v18, we added event replay, which ensures none of your users' interactions are lost before hydration finishes. All of these features brought us to this point where we are now. We've been able to build on all three of these things to bring you the next step in hydration. We call it incremental hydration. So what is it? Well, full application hydration is great, but it requires that your entire application is hydrated all at once, which also means that the JavaScript that supports the HTML is also present. Now, deferrable views reduce some of that JavaScript, but the trade-off is that the rendered placeholder block content is different from the eventual main content. So why do we have to render the placeholder content on the server? Why can't we render the actual content? Well, the answer is because that content all has to be hydrated at the same time with full application hydration, which would mean having to fetch all the JavaScript that you said you wanted to defer until later. And that negates the entire purpose of defer blocks. But we thought, well, what if we could render the template on the server side so that it looks like it should after the defer block is triggered, and then on the client side, leave that content dehydrated, skipping the need for fetching the JavaScript. That's what incremental hydration is. Here's how it works. Defer blocks have a set of triggers, which you're already probably familiar with: immediate, idle, timer, interaction, viewport, and hover. And as a quick recap of how defer blocks work, in your template, you can use @defer and then add one of these triggers, for example, onInteraction. This trigger specifies when the deferrable view dependencies are fetched. And once they've been fetched, the placeholder content goes away and the main content is rendered. Incremental hydration builds on this functionality and adds a new set of similar triggers. We call these hydrate triggers. They're all the same exact triggers you're already familiar with. Again, that's immediate, idle, timer, interaction, viewport, and hover, but with one additional one: never. More on that never. I mean, later. More on that later. To use a hydrate trigger in a defer block, add it as a trigger parameter like this: hydrate on viewport. By adding a hydrate trigger, we signal to the server that we want the defer block to render the actual content, meaning fetch the defer block dependencies and render the main template of your defer block instead of the placeholder block. Specifically, do all of this on the server, but not on the client. When this content reaches the browser, Angular will leave it dehydrated until that hydrate trigger fires. And when the hydrate trigger fires, the deferred JavaScript is fetched and the content is hydrated. So it's loaded eagerly on the server, but it is deferred on the client. And that means your client-side JavaScript bundle will be much smaller and faster to bootstrap, while also having no temporary placeholder block content. And when your content hydrates, there's no layout shift or flickering that occurs, just like full application hydration. How cool is that? Defer blocks are the perfect tool for this task because you've already told Angular this content is less important and doesn't need to be present yet. Your users will be unaware that no JavaScript exists yet for the content that they're viewing. All they know is the site is fast and it looks great. And this works well because your server is much closer to your content and has higher and more consistent resources than any of your users will have. So why not utilize those higher resources to save your users from having to do this work locally? You may be asking, hydrated placeholder, Jessica, what happens if someone tries to interact with the content that's dehydrated? Well, let's talk about event replay. Whoa, déjà vu. As I mentioned, back in v18, we introduced event replay support. Event Replay uses a library developed by Google's Wiz team to support just such a case. This library allows events to be captured and queued up to be replayed later. And using this behavior, we can make sure all of the interactions with dehydrated content are captured, trigger hydration, and get replayed when your content is ready, so none of your user actions are left behind. The library is also tiny, coming in at about 600 bytes, so your users won't even know it's there doing this magic for them. Earlier, I mentioned the new trigger, never. There may be cases where you have content that doesn't need to be hydrated, like static content from a blog or something similar. Hydrate Never is the solution for that. It ensures that the content inside that block never triggers hydration, and because of that, never needs to ship any JavaScript on the initial load. This is an awesome option that gives you a new, great way to reduce the overhead of the static content in your apps. Incremental hydration is now available as a developer preview in Angular v19, and we're so excited for you to try it out. We really think you're going to love it. To start using it, just add with incremental hydration to your provide client hydration call. And then you can start adding hydrate triggers to your application's defer blocks. We can't wait to see what you build using incremental hydration. This feature will certainly help your apps live long and prosper. Hydration is an initial load optimization. So that means if you refresh your page, your content will be dehydrated again. No, wait, don't do it right now. That was pretty.
Wow, they said it couldn't be done. But here we are with a brand new way to hydrate your applications, prioritizing the parts of your apps that users care about the most. So definitely give this one a try today. Now, Angular continues to push the boundaries of what's possible. We continue to work to give you the framework that enables you to build wonderful experiences for your users. So be sure to NG update so you can try out these features today. All right, that's it. Get out of here, go and build great apps. And guess what? I'll see you the next time. Peace.